But first, we want to talk about a letdown Monday. I'm going to talk about what happened with the letdown Saturday. There's a couple things you will never see me talk about on this show. You will never see me talk about politics. You will never see me talk about sex advice. And you will never see me talk about what are the new cooking recipes for whatever season we're in. You know what else we didn't see? A good game Saturday night when we were expected to see the Warriors and Spurs, the two teams that separated by 1.5 games, the top two teams in the West for pretty much the last 2 years. They both rested all of their star players. LaMarcus Aldridge, I'm keeping out of this conversation simply because he has a legitimate heart condition, and that's a different story. But obviously, the big four of the Golden State Warriors did not play. Kawhi Leonard did not play. We basically got my bench versus your bench, and we saw what was actually like an okay game. I don't know. I could not stay focused, and I did not watch the game through and through. Comparatively to if those guys were playing, I would have watched through and through. The Warriors announced Friday night, that their big four were not going to play. Greg Popovich responded with, well, I can one-up it. Well, I'm going to pull Kawhi Leonard tonight. Really? So we get this game that's got the hype. It's got the ABC primetime game of the week. And you're just going to pull all of the star players? Let's look at that for a second. So first off, most people get confused and they sit there and think, the players want to rest or the coaches are making these guys rest, and they get mad at them saying, "Oh, how could Greg Popovich rest his guys? He's taking away from the fans. He's taking away from the experience." Obviously, this all started a few years ago when he pulled his big three then of Tim Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker on TNT, and people got upset about it. I'm not saying that the coaches and players don't have some say in it, but you know who really makes these guys rest and is continuing this epidemic of players resting in big-time games or just resting throughout the season? There's 30 guys that are responsible for every little bit of this. Those are the 30 people that own the NBA teams. Think about something. The league TV partners pay $2.6 billion per season on average last 3 years to play the NBA's games on national television. They pay the NBA this much money because they have ads, they have sponsors, and they want to put their product out there. And what better way to do it than when people are watching a basketball game? They're going to watch the commercials. If you know anything about business, you get how that works. You know who gets really upset when these guys aren't playing? The league's TV partners. Like I said, I went from watching that game, if those guys are playing from start to finish, to I watched maybe, give or take, honestly, 15 to 20 minutes of it. And I was flipping through the channels. I was looking at other things, doing other stuff. The game didn't hold my attention. The NBA does not want this trend to continue because they know once their TV partners start getting mad at them, their TV partners are going to start pulling back. So instead of a $2.6 billion deal to go host all the games, well, if I know I'm getting 7-8 games a year that are primetime games that are going to have guys resting, well, I'm going to pull back my money in terms of the percentage. So if that's 10% of the primetime games, 10% of $2.6 billion. The NBA doesn't want that. Now, the owners, they want their guys to rest. You know why? Because they got a lot of money invested in these human beings. If you go to work, the minimum wage job per se, use that as our example. You're making $10.50, $11 an hour. I live in California. You, one day of work, about an 8-hour day of work, you're worth about a little under $100 to your boss. That's how much it costs to have you there. These guys, especially on the higher end pay scale, are worth a couple $100,000 on a daily basis. They have a lot of money invested in these guys. These owners don't want their guy spraining an ankle, tearing a ligament, having some kind of injury go down. Because then that's not only do they have to pay them regardless if they're hurt, they're now losing out on potential money that they should be receiving. Obviously, if you get to the playoffs, if you're the home team or the better seed, that's a potential 4 extra home games. You make it to the second round, another potential 4 home games. You make it to the third round, another potential 4 home games, and then obviously make it to the finals, another 4. And even if you're the lower seed, another 3, 3, 3, and 3. That is 12 to 16 more home games, 12 to 16 more games you can sell tickets, 12 to 16 more games you sell merchandise, you're selling snacks, selling food. These are the guys who are pulling the plug saying, LeBron's not going to play that game in Memphis because I'm not going to make as much as LeBron playing in Memphis as I will LeBron playing in the second round of the playoffs. Kawhi Leonard playing in the Western Conference Finals. The owners aren't at fault from a practicality standpoint because they own the team. They sign the contracts. They pay the bills. They can do whatever they want with their team, with their franchise. But it just gives a negative public perception of these players that are like, oh, they just want to rest. They don't want to compete. They don't want to play all 82 games. That guy's gone from the NBA. No, that guy's not gone from the NBA. But they got 30 guys who they've got to pick up the phone and say, hey, boss, how many times do you really go out of your way when you pick up the phone and say, hey, boss, do you really stick your chest out and say, you know what? I don't care what you say. I'm going to do it my way. Doesn't happen.